If you thought that Aaron Rodgers might just give you the cliche and trite athlete answers, you'd be sorely mistaken. Rodgers deserves credit yesterday, no doubt about it, for not doing that, not poo-pooing anything, not slamming the media for creating something out of nothing, for simply trying to get out of it with the least amount of transparency, the least amount of answers possible. He did not handle it like so many other athletes do. Bury it, play deflection and defense, and act as though everything is fine. Rodgers did not, but it makes sense. It's on brand. Rodgers is not the type of guy that's going to necessarily play nice and just throw out the normal cliches. So I thought that by and large yesterday, Rodgers came off really well. I thought that he struck a really good balance between honesty and disappointment in the organization, but also detailing the facts from his standpoint of why it happened instead of being overly general and vague. This wasn't I'm just unhappy, or they haven't listened to me, or I don't like them, yada, yada, yada. This was a detailed explanation of the things that he felt the organization did not do. And it wasn't coming from a place of anger, vitriol, spite. It was a very even-handed, even-keel, level-headed A, B, C, D. And I think when you approach something like that and explain it like that, it gives other people a way to see it through your lens. It's not easy, but he did do that. So I thought he accomplished a lot yesterday. And I thought Rodgers came off really well. And I think it was easier to see because he had been uber vague throughout the entire summer. It was easier to see where he was coming from. I thought the hammer of Thor from Aaron Rodgers was going through the list of veterans that the Packers had not re-signed or had lowballed with an offer or had not, quote, treated with the proper respect for players of their stature that really hit home what Rodgers wanted to make a point of. Rodgers said it wasn't about the money, that the Packers eventually came to him a couple of months ago and said, we'll make you the highest paid quarterback. And he said, it's not about the money. And players can say that, but it's hard to believe it. But when Rodgers went through his list of, quote, high character guys that had left the Packers, and he was unhappy with their departure and was unhappy that the Packers front office didn't take his advice in keeping those guys around, I thought it was really effective. Now, the Packers, I'm sure, would tell you, well, we can't afford to keep everybody around. Part of the reason why we're competitive every year is because we make difficult free agent decisions. We don't overpay for guys at the back end of their careers. We're doing quite well, thank you. We're in the postseason every single year. But you could understand where Rodgers is coming from when he's lining up guys like Jordy Nelson, like Charles Woodson, like Julius Peppers. The list went on and on and on. And he said, boom, 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 boom. We let all of these guys go. I said, don't do it. I watched this entire talent drain happen over the years, high character guys, and I'm sick and tired of it. I thought that was really effective because then that is Aaron Rodgers not just talking about his own situation, but defending his teammates and the quality of his locker room. So like I said, I think Rodgers did a lot of good for his cause yesterday. I do think there was a part of this whole Rodgers situation that was portrayed as a nuclear bomb where it never really was. The way that Rodgers, to me, detailed it, it was a building frustration with personnel decisions for many, many years. And then somewhat of the icing on top is They draft his replacement, and then after his MVP season, they don't immediately pivot off of that plan and give him a bunch of cash. He wanted the love. He wanted the respect after the MVP season. And the Packers were kind of detached and aloof and businesslike. And that compiled with years of them not taking his advice on who to keep around finally kind of broke the camel's back. And so that when this started going through the summer and Rodgers was obviously distancing himself from the Packers, what Rodgers was doing was basically clanging pots and pans. Hey, listen to me. Hey, look, I'm not happy. Hey, I'm going to leak stuff to Adam Schefter to let everybody know that I'm not happy. And since I'm not happy, I'll go out and I'll try to find a trade partner. And then the Packers said, well, we're not trading you. And then Rodgers was unhappy. And that's when the Packers came back and said, okay, well, let's fix the money. And that's when Rodgers said, well, it's not about the money. At no point there is it as nuclear and seismic as some would have had you believe over the summer. At no point was it truly these two sides can never work together again. And that was something that I constantly pushed back on. I didn't like that narrative that came out of some media members of the bridge is burned, everything's burning to the ground, you have to trade Aaron Rodgers right now, they can never work together again. I didn't view it as dramatically as that. And it clearly wasn't as dramatic as that. Now, I say all of this, and I think, again, Rodgers proved himself a really important point. I really do. But I did think there were a few missteps in there as well, where Rodgers said a lot of good and then had a few shots that were probably unnecessary and might have undermined what his overall message was. Were there any moments where Rodgers made himself look worse? It is where we begin. Your cold open.
A lot of things that transpired. This wasn't, a draft day thing. This was started with a conversation in February that the season ended. And I just expressed, my desire to be more involved in conversations directly affecting my job. I think we can all understand, Green Bay isn't, a huge vacation destination. People are coming here to play with me, to play with our team and knowing that they can win a championship here. And the fact that I haven't been used in those discussions was one I wanted to change moving forward. And I felt like based on my years, the way I can still play, that should be a natural part of the conversation.
The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending.
It's DA's top story.
Here he goes.
It's your cold open.
That part of it, I thought Rodgers made it about his own ego. And 95% of everything else he said was not about that, made logical, practical sense. And that's where I thought it was a misstep by Rodgers. Because number one, if you're looking at it from a Packers front office standpoint, they're saying, well, we don't know how long Aaron Rodgers is going to be great. And if we have him pitch to free agents, come here and play, and we move on from Aaron Rodgers, well, then suddenly we look stupid to the eyes of whoever just signed if we've got him on the hook for the next 4 years, and now his quarterback is Jordan Love. We've already sunk his belief in that quarterback or what have you. Now, if we want to go back 7 years ago and why Rodgers wasn't used as a salesman, as an ambassador for the Packers, I could totally understand that. But now in recent years, if you've decided already that you see the end of Rodgers as a Packer nearing, you wouldn't use him then as a sales guy for your franchise. So that actually, to me, made more sense from a Packer standpoint. The other part of this, though, is when he says, guys are coming here to play with me. That is really self-absorbed because the most famous free agent in NFL history signed with the Green Bay Packers before Aaron Rodgers was ever there. In fact, he signed with the Green Bay Packers when Aaron Rodgers was like 9 or 10 years old. Reggie White in 1993 is the first huge NFL free agent. The NFLPA had just fought and battled for years for free agency. And in that offseason, Reggie White does a tour of the NFL. He goes to 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 different destinations because everybody in the NFL at his peak is wooing one of the greatest defensive players ever. And Reggie White, before Brett Favre is really Brett Favre, before the Packers of Mike Holmgren were the Packers of Mike Holmgren, in 1993 decides against all other competition and opposition, the Green Bay Packers are where I want to play. And Reggie decides this because of the history of Green Bay, the legacy of Vince Lombardi's championships, Lambeau Field, the community, riding your bike there during training camp, all of those wonderful, unique concepts and dynamics that are in play because of the Packers. And Reggie White says, I want to be part of this. Aaron Rodgers can't say that nobody signs with the Packers because it's just the Packers. It's got to be about him. Plenty of guys through the years signed with the Packers because of the Packer thing. Now, certainly wide receivers want to play for a guy like Aaron Rodgers. I totally get that. And certainly a free agent would go there and say, hey, this is good eating here because Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback. But you can't say that the legacy, the history, the championships, the community, all the things that make the Packers so beautiful, you can't say that that's not also alluring. Because for Rodgers, here's where his ego gets in the way. The Packers were the Packers before Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers will be the Packers after Aaron Rodgers. They won Super Bowls in the 60s before Rodgers was born. They won a Super Bowl and went to back-to-back one to the 1990s when Rodgers was just a tyke, teenager. And they'll win Super Bowls in the future. Who knows how long that'll be? Probably not with Jordan Love, maybe with Jordan Love. But the point is that stuff is bigger than just Rodgers. And that's where I thought that Rodgers put himself on a pedestal unnecessarily high when it came to the organization that he plays for. I did think, though, by and large, Rodgers acquitted himself well, and it was a pretty solid half-hour conversation that he had and was really honest and transparent and unveiled a lot of the stuff that frustrated him, and it made a lot of sense.